Hey, Art the Coco's here with the second part of questions and answers, where I ask the questions and answer them. Question: in Matthew 28:19 and 20, "Lo, I'm with you always, even to the end of the world," or age. Does this imply that he was with them always, or only until AD 70? The Greek here is very interesting. Literally translated, it reads, "And behold, I am with you all the days until the consummation of the age." There's an unfortunate translation here. It should say the whole time, all the days, rather than always. He would be with them the whole time they were announcing the coming of the kingdom, down to the consummation of that age. He was simply telling them that they would not be alone during this period when the Great Commission was being accomplished, from the year 30 to the year 70 in that first century. He would be spiritually present with them through the Holy Spirit, through the work of the Holy Spirit, to see them through to the very end of that old Jewish age. In AD 66 through 70, Christ himself returned to put down his final enemies and give his saints their kingdom inheritance. They had only a temporary or partial pledge, an earnest or seal of that inheritance from 30 to 70. The Great Commission given to the 12 apostles was completed by the time Jesus returned at the end of that Jewish age. Question: did Jesus Christ return in AD 70 without any kind of special fanfare? I wouldn't exactly call the destruction of Jerusalem an event without fanfare. Josephus mentioned some loud voices and trumpets sounding. Trumpets could be heard, as well as angelic armies being visible in the sky over Judea at the time of the Jewish revolt. There were earthquakes. The huge gates of Jerusalem, which usually took a couple of dozen men to close, just came open on their own. A light shone down on the temple for as bright as day, right in the middle of the night. It looked like daylight for 30 minutes. Jews today still commemorate in some fashion, in almost every joyous occasion they celebrate, the shattered goblet at the Jewish wedding, and a special fast day every year in August, are two ways in which they still remember the destruction. A rabbi from New York, in his opening remarks of his lecture on post-biblical Judaism, commented that he would begin the study of post-biblical Judaism with the end. Then he said he would begin with AD 70 because AD 70 was the end of the biblical Judaism, and the beginning of the rabbinic or Talmudic Judaism. Josephus, a Jewish priest and one of the 10 Jewish generals who started the war with Rome in 66, gives his eyewitness account of that gruesome judgment, which Jesus said was such as had not occurred since the beginning of the world until now, nor ever shall, in Matthew 24:21. A few days later, Jesus, at his trial, said, "The high priest and the Sanhedrin shall see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven." Matthew 27:64. Josephus, Tacitus, Eusebius, and the Talmud all record the fact that God's presence was perceived at that awesome destruction. They even record that the angelic armies were seen in the clouds. Question: how did Jesus reveal himself to the world and to everybody at his coming in AD 70? The Jewish world knew who was judging them and why. Josephus stated that he believed the judgment fell upon the Jews immediately after their murder of James, the brother of Jesus. Even the Roman general Titus recognized that the Jewish God was the one who delivered the Jews into his hands, and that without God's help he would never have been able to conquer the Jews. The Christians knew Christ returned to give them relief from the persecution by snatching them away to be with him in a spiritual realm. 1 Thessalonians 4:17. The whole Roman world saw God's righteous judgment and dispensing of salvation then. Christ's identity and the nature of the spiritual kingdom was revealed in 70. The destruction of Jerusalem was an extremely significant redemptive event, not just for that generation, but for the whole world, for all generations, and for all ages to come.